This is Central Oregon Survival Network coming at you again. Today we're going to go over F.S.K, which is a fire starting kit by Central Oregon Survival Network. I'm going to go over the size, the weight, the content, and demo several of the pieces. And I'm also going to show how to repack this small tin so that if you do purchase one of these from us, you'll know how everything goes back in, because I really wanted to get a lot of bang for your buck. So if you do purchase one of these kits, at the end of the video we're going to do a demonstration on how to get everything back into the tin, and sometimes you know how difficult that can be. Alright, let's get started. Okay, this is the fire starting kit from Central Oregon Survival Network. We call it F.S.K, just for short. The tin is 3 3/4 inches long, 2 3/4 inches wide, and 3/4 inches thick. The tin is 4 ounces in total weight with everything in it, has 23 items, and approximately about 14 minutes of burn time with the fire starters. So let's jump into the contents. Okay, so this is the tin that I just showed you. It has a kind of a compression type lid, which actually works really well. A wire saw, and this isn't the super cheap version. This actually works really well. I found it online instead of using the really cheap type Coleman's. This is actually a little bit more of expensive and has nice holders on it. Got 4 alcohol swabs. Tinder quick. 2 large cotton balls soaked in Vaseline with about a 1 to 2 minute burn time. The Tinder Quick actually also has about a 1 to 2 minute burn time. These are my favorite waterproof matches, and a lot of this stuff is based on my experience. This is 10 of the UCO weather and waterproof matches with a 15-second burn time each. One of my favorite fire starters, of course, Wetfire. Burns when wet, burns longer when wet, 1300 degrees, and burns this one little brick for approximately 10 minutes. Okay. This is also, everybody that's done survival knows what these are. This is a little bit different. This actually has, you can see, this is a Magnesium and Flint fire starter, so it has your Flint on top, and it has a Magnesium, so you can actually scrape that, and then you can Flint it. And then, of course, you can use your Flint for a lot of the other fire starters. I've also added a block of fat wood onto this. You can actually scrape that off too and add to your fire starting. And some of my kits, depending on which one you buy, or you can get just the solid ferrule rod. This is actually a 1/4 inch solid ferrule rod, which is about approximately 10,000 strikes. Okay? And last but not least, and some people say, why do you add it? But of course there's a lighter inside. I don't tape these lighters off or cover this up, because usually if it's inside of a metal tin, this will not be pushed down when you're on a backpacking trail. Like a lot of people will just throw it in their backpack. This gets pushed down and it runs out of gas in there. So I added this. Of course, in cold weather this isn't going to work. That's why I always use just the ferrule rod. I hardly ever use the lighter or even the matches. I'm a big ferrule rod user, but this I threw in the kit, of course, just in case you ever need it. It is in there. Okay, now just for a quick demo. On your Tinder Quick, when you pull it out, just in case if you haven't used some of these fire starting techniques. So basically you want to flare that Tinder Quick out. Get it all flared out. Take your Flint, and you're just going to strike that off. Now I'm not going to do that right now because I'm indoors, and well, I might do the cotton ball, but sometimes when you strike you want to make sure that you're right on it and then strike. Okay, you're just going to strike, and there's a metal side to this striker that goes onto your Flint. Okay, this is the Wetfire block. There's a couple ways you can use this. What you can do is you can take it and you can scrape a bunch off. If you don't want to use the whole block, like I said, this is 10 minutes, so you can preserve this and use it over and over again until it's gone, of course. But you can sit there and scrape some off, kind of like Magnesium, and then light that with your ferrule rod. And then of course in your cotton balls, I know a lot of people out there know how to do the cotton balls. So basically you have them that are all nice and tight when they're in the package and they're soaked in Vaseline. So when you pull them out, make sure you break them up. You don't have to, but I like to break them up a little bit. They're easier to light. So basically you can just set them in the wherever you're at. Find your metal side and then you just strike those off. Okay? And they light really, really quick and really easy. Okay? And you can also do that to the Wetfire, is you can light the Wetfire and you can smother the Wetfire. And you can reuse it, smother it again, reuse it, smother it again. They actually have some good videos on the Wetfire on YouTube. Okay, so that covers just my small demo. Now I'm going to show you how to actually pack this back together for those people that did purchase it and get frustrated with trying to get everything back into the tin, which I completely understand. Alright, so very first thing, take your tin, put in your alcohol swabs. Second thing, put in your saw. Now when you put the saw in, make sure it's as flat as possible on the bottom of the tin. Okay? Now you're going to take your ferro rod or magnesium flint, whatever you like to call it. You're going to take it and you're going to basically organize it just like that. Okay? Now when you have it just like that, that's going to go on one side of your tin. Just like that. Okay? After you get that done, take your matches, make sure your bag's nice and folded up. You're going to put that on the opposite side. And you have to hold some of this stuff down when you do it, and it'll get a little crazy, but it goes in actually rather nice. And once, this is all new stuff, so once it's in there for a while, it compresses and you don't have to worry about it. Take your Tinder quick. You're just going to set that long part underneath the matches and put that to the side. So you have your Tinder quick, your matches, your ferro rod, your saws underneath with your alcohol swabs, okay? You gotta, like I said, you gotta kind of hold this down as you do it. Hopefully all my fingers don't get too much in the way. The Wetfire is a little more difficult to get back in just because you have to have a good sized spot. This one actually is pretty easy. So basically, now you have your Wetfire here. Wetfire goes right here. Everything's kind of popping out on me, which it always does. That's where it could get frustrating, but once you put it all together, you just kind of hold it down. So now you put your cotton balls in. Cotton balls in, go right in here. And then your lighter goes right next to your cotton balls. Kind of just kind of push it down in there. I always just kind of get it fingered. Okay. Tuck everything in. I take the string. I come back down with the string and I put it in just an open area. So there should be a little hole right here next to your Tinder quick. Okay? And that's what it looks like. Just like that. So if you freeze the frame and you look at it, you can see where all the different pieces go. Okay, once you have everything set, of course, lid goes on. Bam. Alright, that is the fire starting kit from Central Oregon Survival Network. If you have any questions, comments, or anything you'd like to add, saying, hey, well, why didn't you think about this? Or maybe you should add this. Or maybe why did I add something that maybe, well, not necessarily you don't agree with, but please have constructive criticism and give us a sub, or if you're already subbed, I'd love to hear your comments. All right, thank you. This is Central Oregon Survival Network. Have a great day.